Hello, and welcome to Grade.com Talks With. Today, we're talking with Michelle Ferguson, National Community Initiatives Director at Dream Corps, bipartisan nonprofit organization impacting the intersection of criminal justice reform, climate, and technology. And if you're new to our podcast, please press subscribe button either on YouTube or your podcast app, because today we're going to learn about bridge building and solutions-oriented organization that is reshaping what's possible in the fields of social justice. Hello, Michelle. Welcome to Grade.com Talks. We're excited to have you here.
Hello, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Wonderful. Could you please describe Dream Corps for someone who is not familiar with your work?
Sure. Dream Corps is a nonpartisan nonprofit organization whose mission to close prison doors and open doors of opportunity. And for us, we do that with our three programs: Dream Corps Justice, formerly known as Cut 50, which is a criminal justice reform program; our Dream Corps Green for All, which is a clean environment, clean food program; and then Dream Corps Tech, which we are mission to get underrepresented communities into tech world through untraditional pathways. So we really reach across the aisle, work with anyone that's willing to help us. We work with people who are closest to the pain, they're usually closest to the problem. So we bring in community members to really help us solve some of the tough problems that are out there to get us to the closest solution. So that's kind of how we're interrelated and what we do.
Wonderful. I really like the fact that you mentioned that you're bringing community members together. They're raising their voices. What struggles they are facing, and you have built programs to address those challenges and to build solutions that can be sustainable both in social justice as well as climate and technology. So having different approaches for different problems, but them all uniting under one bridge of building solutions-oriented mission is very, very interesting to observe. You mentioned that you have three programs, and one of your programs is Cut 50 Criminal Justice Reform Program. And then under this program, you were able to make it accessible for 7,000 people to go back home. Could you please tell us how were you able to accomplish such impact and the purpose of your criminal justice reform program?
Yeah, so it definitely wasn't easy. So we, Dream Corps Justice, wrote a bill called the First Step Act. That was a bill that they got assistance with bipartisan. So Democrats, Republicans definitely came together and say, hey, we see the need. We need to humanize this issue. People are not the sum of their mistakes. People need a second chance. So we took those that were qualified for that bill to come home early for a time that they have already served. So we had a team of people write legislation. They came together. They got the bill passed. It was passed in 2018 by former President Donald Trump, who saw the need that we have to have more criminal justice reform. So that is how we work. It took a long time to get there. So we had other senators, other representatives that really came behind us and championed the movement, and other advocates too. We have those who are formerly incarcerated. With our empathy network, we have over 100,000 people there, and it's people who are doing the work on the ground with other individuals who are incarcerated or who's been formerly incarcerated themselves. So they know the issues that are at stake. So that's how we came together and got that bill passed.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Seeing that the bill passed, but you mentioned that incarcerated people, they came together, they knew the struggles, they knew the issue, and they were advocates working together with you and working together with the decision makers. You were able to accomplish such wonderful results. But besides having this implementation of the First Step Act, what other initiatives have you taken in the criminal justice reform program that Dream Corps runs?
Yeah, so the first thing that Dream Corps did was with Dream Corps Green for All. That was a program that was spearheaded by Van Jones, and he just come out of the Obama administration, and he saw a need to bring clean energy to underrepresented low-income areas. So he had those who were formerly incarcerated, they would install solar panels on the houses in low-income areas. So that was the first program and the first touch point that Dream Corps had with formerly incarcerated individuals, to give them access to jobs, clean resources, clean energy, clean clean tools. That's also how we first started the bridging the gap between the Cut 50, which is now Justice, Green Core Tech, and Green, because solar panels are a tech initiative. Then you have the clean initiative, then you have formerly incarcerated. So that was our first touch point in kind of bridging our programs together. But that was our first entry point in working with those who were systems impacted.
Wonderful to see that you built a solution for welcoming people earlier home, incarcerated individuals, and then you saw the need for them to build sustainable homes and sustainable lifestyle, and the Green for All initiatives came forward. So the root of the issue was we wanted to help people who were victims of this criminal justice injustices, and you reformed it. But at the end of it, it grew into more detrimental and more different branches, mentioning that Green for All as well. Green for All is obviously your green economy program, and you recently launched a nationwide communication and organizing campaign that featured an anthem song written by 4 different artists who told their stories, how they were impacted by transportation pollution. Could you please tell us in detail about this campaign and the importance of this campaign?
Yeah, absolutely. So she is our chief programs officer. Her name is Michelle Romero. She really spearheaded this initiative. So with Green for All, they really seek to bring people together to really advocate for what's going on. Storytelling is the biggest tool that we can use to really get the information out there and get people together to really get to the heart and the soul of the issues that are happening. So that was what that initiative was. It really was to get awareness on how transportation is no longer a luxury, just like broadband access to Wi-Fi, no longer a luxury. It's a necessity. People need access to clean, efficient transportation to get to their, really carry out their everyday lives. So that was really a chance to highlight how we need to bring transportation, but not just transportation, clean transportation that's not going to pollute the environment, that's not going to pollute a community, especially low-income communities who are usually most impacted by transportation that's not reliable. So that's how that came together, to really champion that, to really rally the community together to get behind it and donate and get even legislators to see the need of having city officials to have clean transportation in their areas and how it can attribute to the overall good of communities overall.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, storytelling is very powerful, and when you look at the facts, you see, oh, it's just a fact. People might feel indifferent, but when you put a face to it, but when you put a story behind it, then people feel more engaged. Decision makers will feel more engaged, and then it's a step for making a change in the different areas that we are working on. But in seeing that the necessity, the importance of having clean transportation through this campaign, I think the message was delivered, and hopefully the decision makers and policy makers have taken this into consideration when taking initiatives that impact this direction. Under the Green for All program, you also are advocating for the New Green Deal. Could you please tell us why the New Green Deal is very important, and why do you advocate for it?
Yeah, the new Green Deal is very important because we're definitely in a very critical time in the world, especially here in the United States, where we need to get clean energy. So really pushing to have clean energy, clean jobs, clean resources, clean food, clean water, clean transportation, which goes into having green vehicles. So there is a pledge now by the current administration to have all vehicles be electric by 2030. So really pushing for that because it's needed, because we are all trying to build a place that was better than before. This is our home. This is our earth. We have to take care of it. So if we don't do it, who else? So there's so much research and data out there with things of pollution and melting of the ice caps and how things are changing, and who knows what the world will be like in 100 years. So we're trying to make the world as clean as it can for future generations, to kind of turn back the time if we can, and getting ahead of it now. The earth is more populous than it was 20 years ago, 100 years ago. So with more people comes more use of resources and comes more pollution if we don't get ahead of it and really have clean solutions. So that's really the crux behind this new Green Deal. So we have to preserve what we have and make it better than it can be in the future and get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The new Green Deal is very important, and the focus on sustainability and having clean solutions is very important. And I think this, as it's the new Green Deal is impacting so many different aspects of life, it comes across your mission of the organization as well, as you are working in different three different areas, but they are all under one umbrella of having solutions that impact the lives and improve the quality of life of the people. And the new Green Deal will be doing the same in a sustainable way rather than in non-sustainable way. So that's very important to see this correlation between your work and the new Green Deal initiatives. And the third aspect of your organization that you work in is Dream Corps Tech, Equity in Tech program. Could you please tell us the purpose of this program and the impact that this program has been able to accomplish since it was launched?
Sure. So it was originally launched in 2014 under the name of Yes We Code. It was started by CNN contributor Van Jones and Prince. Most people don't know that, the artist formerly known as Prince. So really, it was birthed out of the Trayvon Martin incident that happened in Florida. Van said, how come every time a Black male or Black youth is seen in a hoodie, he's labeled as a criminal or a thug versus someone as non-Black would be seen as the next dot-com billionaire. So Prince challenged that idea, said, hey, maybe we're not creating enough Mark Zuckerberg to identify as a person of color, Black or Latinx. So that is how we were born. So we started doing hackathons and boot camps for the youth out in Oakland, which is where our Dream Corps is headquartered. And then we switched our model in 2018 to Dream Corps Tech and focused on the adult population and upskilling them. So taking with the current skill sets that they have and transitioning them into a world of tech. So we have a corporate cohort program where we partner with corporations who say, hey, I need 15 software engineers who knew Java, who identify as Black or Latinx. Can you help me? So we act as a recruiter and a trainer. We find individuals in the local community who have the aptitude, not just the skill set, but the aptitude to learn coding in a really short amount of time. So if there's someone who writes music or someone who was in law enforcement or they were in construction, we can take the skills that they currently have and help them use that skills to create a future for them in tech. So that's what we do. We have scholarship programs that we offer to those who are trying to change careers and get certificate programs. Do a lot of community-facing events to really let the community know how tech is embedded in their everyday lives and how it's impacting them and how they can use it also to their advantage and create a career and a lifestyle out of it. Because it says by 2030, 400 million jobs will be lost due to automation. We don't want our communities most impacted, those who are low income, low education, to be directly affected by that adversely. So we're getting ahead of that and teaching them the skills they need to know to be competitive in the new market that is coming.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an initiative that started as a tool to increase awareness on the misrepresentation of the people of color in the tech industry, and then providing enough tools, providing a platform for people from the members of the community of the color, then they can learn the skills and be represented in the tech industry and see a pathway for a successful life, for being a next unicorn founder, for being next Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. Then it shifted into directing attention to all the members from the low-income families, low-income background. You mentioned that it's predicted that almost 500 million people will lose their job because of the automation, and we need to equip people. We need to teach people how to be prepared for this change, and your organization is certainly doing that. So that's very, very important. As a bipartisan organization, you bring people from different, we noticed that through the description of your programs when you were saying you bring people from different backgrounds, from different ethnicities, races, from different financial background, and we mentioned several issues that they face, but could you please describe some we talked about on a high level basis on the justice reform and the green for all. But if you could highlight some of the key issues that people who you work with from different backgrounds, what are the challenges they are facing, and what initiatives Dream Corps will be taking in the upcoming years to address and provide a solution-based approach for such challenges.
Yeah, so the two key issues that the individuals across all of our programs face is lack of access to tools and opportunity. And that's what we try to provide them. So those tools could be whether it's education, we have different partners with colleges, with online resources to really upskill the talent that we have. So whether it's someone who's formerly incarcerated, we are partnered with some organizations who are also like Harvard to provide them with credentialing so they can get their degree. Partnered with Dream Cortex, we can provide skills training to them with Green for All, who provides, resources, internet, clean energy, transportation. So really access is something that they've been looking for and been denied. Access to tools, access to resources. So providing them education on what's out there. How can we help them? What opportunities do they need to come their way so they can have a sustainable job that can support their way of life and help build generational wealth? Because it starts there. All of these individuals, one, need access to tools, but they also need opportunity for jobs to create a sustainable living and life for themselves. So you have a whole cycle or a cyclical cycle. If you're someone who was formerly incarcerated or systems impacted, you have this record. You can't get a job. Because you can't get a job, you're put back into a life of crime, or you're put in a low income area where you don't have access to clean water, clean food, or clean transportation. So we look at it's really solutions based on bringing all these things together. So it's really one common thread. They have a lack of access to tools and opportunities. And with Dream Corps, all of our programs, we provide that to them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned it's not because members, individuals that you work with, it's not because they don't want to improve their quality of life. It's because there is a lack of system that supports their ability to reach resources, ability to find opportunities. As you mentioned, it's a cycle, and if you don't get out of the cycle, it's very hard for you to see further opportunities and the issues, the challenges that individuals that were incarcerated, they need to be addressed, and they need to be provided enough tools so they can find the right opportunities for themselves, so they can improve the quality of lives for themselves, for their family, and for community in general. Just a little more background on the issue that incarcerated individuals, when they are released, face. You mentioned a lack of resources and lack of opportunities. And how is this impacting their lives? Is it not allowing them the current system that is put there? It's not allowing them to get jobs. But could you please elaborate on that in more detail for someone, for our viewers who are not familiar with the challenges people who were incarcerated face?
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes people who are unfortunately to go into incarceration are, victims of a crime that they didn't even commit. Mm-hmm. Right. So if they have that on their record, and it's there for life most of the time. So a company doesn't have the time, or they don't take the time to really dig through to learn about the person. They just see that blip on their that stain on their record, and they just cut them off, then say, no, you can't work in my organization. But sometimes that's just a mistake that someone made, or they was at the wrong place at the wrong time. And unfortunately, because we have systematic racism and prejudice here, they were a fall victim and they were put in the system. So then they can't get a job usually when they come out. So sometimes depending on what the crime was, they can't get a job in banking or a job working with other individuals. So it really stifles on what they can do. So they have to take really low paying jobs. With low paying jobs, they can't really support themselves. And then also, you don't ever think about that. Sometimes they don't access, when you come out of prison, you have to be on probation. Well, probation, sometimes they pay to be in probation, but if you don't have a job, you can't get one, then you're going to be put back in jail because you can't make your payment. Or they have really harsh or strict guidelines. You have to be there on time. Not taking into consideration that you may have illness, or there may be a death in the family. Something may arise, but you just might be 5 minutes late. Well, being 5 minutes late can actually land you back in jail. So there's all these stringent and rigid things put in place to really put the person in the system, put them back in position to be back in the system. So that's another issue. And it's just access to Information on how they can further themselves after they've gotten out. Even when those who are incarcerated, especially women, they don't have access to sanitary items if they're going through their monthly menstruation. They don't have access if they're pregnant to health care. That's an issue. And then you don't even think about it. Someone who has a record, sometimes they can't even get access to internet because they have a criminal record. They can apply to some companies to get internet or get a phone in their name. So then they're forced to put in someone else's name or they can't get it at all. So all these things are barriers to them living out the life that we take for granted for every day, just really basic things really to carry out their lives. So just really bringing attention awareness to companies saying, hey, you should think about your hiring practices. You should think about your application processes for your phone or for internet or for healthcare, and removing that barrier that because you have a record that you can't have access to these things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for raising awareness and highlighting the struggles that individuals who were incarcerated face. And I was shocked by the fact that you mentioned on the not being able to get just the basic access to internet, because the system put in a place that does not allow you and does not allow you for more opportunities, but rather creates barriers that are not necessarily there is a logic behind them. So there's no logic behind it, and we take it for granted, but it costs individuals opportunities. It, as mentioned by you, it creates barrier for access for information, access for resources that they can learn and utilize to further progress their life. Unfortunately, the current system does not fully allow that. And the fact that you are raising awareness and you are also working with companies to indicate that what you're doing is not necessarily correct, and you need to improve your hiring practices, your being advocate, and you addressing the issues is very, very important. If someone would like to support Dream Corps, how can they do that?
Yes, you can visit us at thedreamcorps.org. So that's THEDREAMCORPS.org. We have a donate button there. You can support us that way. You can always support us by sharing us on social media. Let people know what we're doing, what we're advocating for. We are really big on storytelling. So we focus our attention on those who are impacted. We want to give voice to those who have been voiceless historically. So helping us do that really helps our cause. So again, you can visit us online to donate. You can retweet or reshare our things on Instagram. To really get awareness of the things that we have going on, whether it's a Cut 50 initiative, a Green for All initiative, or a Dream Corps Tech initiative.
Wonderful. The link to the Dream Corps website, as well as all the social media presence, will be provided in the description. So you viewing and listening can go to the website and familiarize yourself with the great work Michelle and the team at Dream Corps are doing. Thank you so much, Michelle. It was wonderful to get to know you and the wonderful work Dream Corps is doing.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Wonderful. For you listening, if you enjoyed this conversation, please press like and share button, because this will show the YouTube and podcast algorithm that this conversation is important, that we need to close more doors to the prison and create more doors for opportunities. Thank you, and see you in the next episode.